Okay.
Almost there. Boom. All right, hold on a second here. There we go. Hit the button I needed to hit there. Welcome, everyone, to episode 1049 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pantelarusco. And if remember this lady, she was a part of the big anthology chat, but apparently either I made a good impression, or at least I made some kind of impression, because she agreed to come back for more here. So this is Lorraine J. Anderson. So
Thank
how
you.
you doing?
I am doing fairly well. I'm still a little bit tired from work, but
Know the feeling. Know the feeling. I used to do what
yeah.
you did. What you did. I worked at Pure Later Courier. I was in a warehouse, so I was
Oh
handling
yeah.
all the freight. Right. I was a
Oh
physical.
geez.
Yeah, I had muscles on my muscles. Like I could flex and do this stuff and have a wonderful, right, a wonderful
Yeah.
time. And but like I just hit a point in my life. I look at it like this. I hit the age of 42. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can turn this into a full fledged like meeting, like career, like and I want to go for
Hmm.
it. And if I fail right now, this is the way I look at it. I can still pivot into something else, but I'm not planning on failing. I'm planning on succeeding, and I'm going to take over the world and do all these other weird and wacky, crazy things. So, but I figure if you don't take those chances in life now, you never will.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of agree. Yeah. Um, I just never had the opportunity to do it. Really,
I
it's
mean,
just
you had and just like you had kids, like family kind of thing. Was that kind of like the other?
basically family. Um, Gosh, it was about when I was about 40. Well, when I was 38, my father passed away and I had moved home. And my mom was in a wheelchair. And when I
Oh, okay.
was 40, my mom had a stroke and then had to go to a nursing home. And by the time there's three of us girls, and one of us went once a day. So by the time you get through there, it's like, okay, don't feel like I'm doing anything after being at work and being with mother.
Oh
So,
no, no,
you
like
know,
that's fair. So here's the only thing about me. This is the only thing I tell everybody. At the end of the day, right? Even though,
mhm.
right, we do what we want to do. Like whether we, no matter how much, how little time we have, I truly believe like we do what we want to do. If we're honest enough about it, like, look, it sounds to me like you were very okay with assuming the responsibilities you did.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
right.
And I did some writing later. I mean, writing
Yeah.
later on. So,
And Miss Lorraine, there's nothing wrong with that. Like we all have, like we all make our choices in our life. Like that's
yeah,
just the way it is.
we all
And
make life choices. Sure.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like we all, well, thing is, right, we all have this ability. Like we all get like whatever hands we're dealt, we're dealt. Like that part's not fair. What we do with it, it's up to us.
Hmm.
And as long as you just like, okay, this is the decision that's best for me. Really, that's all anybody can say, really, one way or the other. There's no this idea that there's a right way or a wrong way necessarily of doing things. No, it's just you have a decision on how you choose to
Yeah,
do things,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you did it.
yeah. There are a couple people that can write till all hours of the night that I know of. Well, Deborah's one of them, I believe, because it seems like every time I wake up in the middle of the night, she's on Facebook.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that could just be a Facebook addition because you're not a writing problem. I'm teasing a little bit.
no, she's on. Believe me,
Oh,
she's on.
no, no, I'm not, I'm not, I was being facetious there. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
But it's one of those things. Like, no, I mean, it's kind of like the point I'm getting across, right? Like, we all have to make the choices of what's what and what are we going to choose to do, and
Oh,
those
exactly.
things, and that's it, and that's what dictates our lives. So, whatever, like, it's if you take ownership of what you do, and whatever happens, happens. I find it's a lot. it makes whatever comes your way easier to
Yeah.
manage. Not because
Hmm.
it's not easy per se, but because like I made this choice, I'll live with it. You know what I mean? And that's not
Oh,
bad,
exactly.
that's not a bad way to be, I don't think.
I only have a couple of regrets or maybe three regrets in life, and there's not much I can do about at least two of them. So,
See,
uh,
me and you have a similar philosophy. See, I have this is mine.
yeah,
1,000,000 mistakes.
yeah, exactly.
A handful. I'm trying to keep my regrets to less than 10 in my life. That's my goal, right? I think I have really if I were to go back, I would say I'd have 3 maybe regrets at this point in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm doing pretty good. I'm hoping to
Hmm.
keep it around that number all the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah, three or four, and and then 2020 hindsight is always
Yeah.
that's the way you go.
Oh yeah.
Can't regret.
I mean, one of my regrets was in high school. I had this girl I had this huge crush on, and I never asked her out. But I learned a valuable
Hmm.
lesson with that. So that regret
Hmm.
shaped the rest of my life. And like without that regret, I don't know if I would be so keen to avoid regrets with everything else. But I still think of her to this day, and that's something that I realize that yeah, it's a regret, and
Hmm.
that's the difference between a regret and
Oh
a
yeah,
mistake.
there was a guy I had a crush on in high school, and but after high school, I never saw him again. But he was a heck of a nice guy in high school.
Yeah, and you're just like, maybe I should have. And
Uh, I,
yeah,
I I I think at the point he pushed me away,
sure.
because this was in the mid 1970s, and it was the young black man.
Okay.
So I think that was more his choice to push me away. It would have been a lot harder back then.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It was a different.
Yeah, it
I
was a different world.
very different world. Like very different world. My dad's from like he was him and my uncle grew up in like the ghettos of Detroit. So they were white kids in predominantly a black neighborhood.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Right. So
yeah.
so how they were so I have stories about how they were raised and how things went back then. I can't say some of the things that was said back then today because it just but it was a different world and a different time and people and a very different way of looking at things than exists today.
Oh yeah. I remember my grandfather came down for lunch, and something he said, it's like, okay, I can't say anything, but I disagree with you.
Well,
you
you can
know.
the thing is it's okay to disagree, right? But again,
Hmm.
it's a matter of understanding the time it came from, right? I'm not saying it's
That's
all
what I did. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Because he was born in 1899.
Yeah, so it's kind of
Yeah,
that's a very I mean
yeah, very different.
1899 and now I mean could they I don't think anyone could imagine today from
Oh
like
no,
it is such a different place.
no, no, exactly.
You know, some ways it's better. I think part of actually I'll be honest for the most part I think it's better. Some ways I wonder, but for the most
Yeah,
part I think it's better.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so
But
but pleasant philosophy so far. So okay, so
let's talk about something funner, much more
yeah,
fun.
no. We're breaking the this is breaking the ice stuff, right? So
Okay.
yeah, right. Again. I don't control where the chats go. I just kind of listen to it and I can feel it. It's just like cautiously optimistic. I think is so far as what the chat is going. Um, where you? Okay, so you gotta tell me about yourself. Where are you from? Whereabouts are you?
Well, I actually moved back in the family home. I'm in Michigan,
Whereabouts?
south of Kalamazoo, Three Rivers.
Oh, I know of the area. I've not been
Yeah,
through it, but I know of the area. I've been to Kalamazoo. Long time
yeah.
ago. I've been to
Oh yeah,
Kalamazoo. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, you're in that midwestern. You're definitely into like midwestern United States where you're at for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So how long you been back there?
Uh, well, like I say, I moved back in the family home, so I moved out for about 8 years, 10 years to Kalamazoo. And then I moved back because and there's no chance for her seeing it, but because she passed away. But I had a roommate who was not paying her rent.
Mm.
And my job wasn't that good. I couldn't afford to, to
No,
pay for her and me at the same time. So I said, okay, I have this job in 3 years and I don't want to make the drive in the winter
yeah,
because I wanted to remain friends with her.
yeah. No, it happens. I mean, it sucks that it happens. Like I mean, I've been the guy
Hmm.
that's paid the rent. I've also been the guy that needs help with the rent. I've been on both ends of that
Oh,
spectrum,
yeah.
right? So sometimes the way life works out is just whatever, for whatever reason. Was she trying? Like, was she doing her best? Or
Mm, not
okay,
precisely.
okay,
No, no.
okay.
Somebody I
That's
wanted to remain friends with, but
okay.
yeah,
No, fair.
yeah.
That's different. That's different. Sometimes I mean there are points in life where we all struggle. Like that's kind of like
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
right. So that. I mean, you might not be able to keep it up forever then either. But I mean that it's one thing when the effort's there. It's another thing when it's not. When it's not, you got to walk away.
Yeah, like I was paying 300 and some for rent, this is back in the mid 80s. And she would pay about 40 or $50. It's like, yeah, I can't. I can't do
No,
this. I can't do this anymore.
no, it's
And I
fair.
was paying, I was selling plasma. I was trying not to let my parents know what was going on too. So,
Yes. Yeah. No. So like you're just someone that's had a lot of responsibilities in her life. That's what it sounds like anyway.
yeah, yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
Some ways I have, and some ways I haven't. So,
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. But it's again. It sounds like you've just been basically. It sounds like you're just a very hard work. Like you've been a hard working woman your whole life.
I've tried. I've tried. Sometimes,
It's all good.
you know,
It's all good. Yeah. So
well, somebody said, "You're doing what tonight?" Says, "Don't you ever stop?
now
Do nothing for a while?"
you can sleep when you're dead. You can sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's what you can sleep when you're dead. You got things to. You got too much shit to do, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. Um. Okay. So, have you always wanted to write the stuff, or was this something that came later?
Kind of started. I think pretty much after I started reading, which is about. I think I wrote something when I was about 8. This little tiny chapbook thing, which I could probably find someplace, but it had a beginning, it had the ending, and but really didn't get terribly serious about it until junior high, and I had this teacher said, "Boy, you write kind of well." So
And your junior high teacher kind of encouraged you to keep going with it.
yeah, she encouraged me to keep going with it, and then when I was in high school, I helped restart the school newspaper, and I started writing some fiction then, which is best buried, but you know.
Hey, listen, give props. High school Lorraine probably was a badass, probably because hey, it takes guts to put your story out there, right?
Yeah.
I still got stuff from high school. It kind of makes me cringe to read it, but
Oh,
every once in a while, I will read a piece of it, and it's just like, you know what? It's good.
well, I was voted most shy in high school, one of the most shy.
I can see it.
And I don't think I was necessarily shy, but as you can tell, I kind of have a little problem, or not enunciating, but getting the words out. And, in high school, they're brutal about that,
I
or
I
in junior high.
I hmm. See, I don't think it's. I think it's you're naturally introverted, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
naturally introverted, and the thing is, when you're naturally introverted, it's sometimes so it can be a number of different reasons why. It
Hmm.
could be like, it could be just about something as, hey, it's not your first language. Like I should
Yeah,
ask this, but I should ask this before we continue.
yeah.
Did you do like any like else like music, drawing, like anything performative at all?
In
When
high
you were a kid?
school,
Yeah,
um, did a couple things in Girl Scouts. I was in choir,
that's cool.
junior.
Yeah,
Um, I did try, I did a solo
so
in high school.
but you did you enjoy performing like when you were doing it?
Uh, Not until later. I mean, I didn't not enjoy it. I was
But was
scared
some
stiff.
well, you're always scared, no
Yeah,
matter how old you get. You're
yeah.
always a little scared.
I've enjoyed it more later.
Yeah. Okay.
When I've gotten older, as I've gotten older.
You got more comfortable in your skin. Gotcha.
Yeah. But when you push your mom around in the wheelchair and everybody talks to you and doesn't talk to her, even though she's fully
Yeah.
capable, you start to, okay, I gotta, you know, I gotta force some things.
So what it is, Miss Lorraine, and what it probably is you're somebody that very much exists inside her head, and that's
Hmm.
cool because you probably got based on just the little of this conversation we've had so far,
Yeah.
you probably have an incredible imagination, but that's where you're at all the time. So when someone's
Uh,
talking to you, you extricate yourself from this world you have in your head
hmm.
and come out. It's like, oh shit, this is the real world, and I have to
Oh,
actually interact with these guys. Fuck. Okay, so
yeah.
and then there's that process, of doing it, but it's not your first go to. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
right, and I don't know if that's shy exactly. It's just I've seen it. I've interviewed a lot of creative people, and
Hmm.
the thing is, I'm an introvert too. But the thing is, I've done this so much. I'm a practice extrovert. So
Yeah. I
right,
get that. I
yeah,
really do get that.
yeah, I'm a practice extrovert is what I am. And the thing is, because again, I see a lot what's in my head, but I also, I mean, but I've developed my incredible big mouth skills, and because I like that ability to just chat with anybody, I can come across and be very like I can be very straight to the point. But like I said, even with me, there are points I need to be in kind of my own space, my own head, and kind of just let things go.
Hmm.
That's totally a fine thing for me. It's just I can go both ways, and because I can go both ways, right, it's useful. But I developed that skill. A lot of creatives don't
Hmm.
have, right. You seem to be you're perfectly, you just seem like someone just based, again, I've talked to you for approximately 30 minutes, we'll just say, because of that whole panel, and I was talking to a
Oh,
bunch of
yeah.
you at once.
Yeah.
Let's say I've talked to
Exactly.
you for 30 minutes. In that 30 minutes, right, I mean, there's definitely a lot going on up there, right? I can definitely see the wheels and gears
Hmm.
turning. But for you, it's just like, so I'm sure you have a ton of thoughts, but my thing is you're probably used to the fact that, I can just keep it all in here, and I will just go
Hmm.
about the business of doing whatever it is I'm doing.
And my my jobs that I work at, I mean, that basically I don't have to talk to people if
Yeah.
unless I have to, because I'm bookkeeper in both jobs, so I don't really have to talk to many people. So,
So it's
but I'm trying to get myself going in, but like this tonight,
so
you know.
is that why you came on the show? Because you
Well,
feel
not precisely, but
yeah,
no, I
okay.
like you, but
I like you too. I like you too. It's part of it, right? But
yeah, I like it. I mean, but no, I've done a couple of talks about books, and it's like, okay, I could stay at home and not do it, but I'm not going to stay at home and do nothing all my life,
well,
if you know
no,
what I
because
mean.
but I mean, book like strictly on a business level, it's also bad
Hmm.
business for your books because people don't get
Exactly.
it's terribly bad business for your books because if you're not excited, if you're not talking about them, Why should
Hmm.
anybody else? Like, why should anybody else? Like, no one's going to believe you because you're
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah, I still haven't found the balance between talking about my books and being a bore about it,
Oh, it just be
you know.
passionate. Honestly,
Yeah.
here I look. We all obsess over stuff. It's our best and our worst quality. It can be both. It's both. It's our best quality because okay, man, look, there is someone in the world that is excited over potatoes. There's somebody
Hmm.
else in the world that's excited over stars. There's somebody else in the world that's
Hmm.
excited over something in this world. All right. And it's amazing because you get to see these people come to life, and it's a wonderful thing. It really is. Like it is one of the greatest, I think, gifts in the world is that we are allowed to come on this planet and obsess over stuff. It can be as
Hmm.
frivolous as it can be something like topical serious, like maybe the nature of how the universe works, the Big Bang theory, whether it's
Yeah.
if you're theological, whether about does God care, right? Like, what, it could be something like that big, or it can be something as, oh my God, I'm a Swiftie, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same obsession, and I think
Yeah.
it's an amazing. That's the best part, the best way that's expressed. Like, I don't know about you. Have you ever gone to a convention? I love cosplay. I love cosplay because you get to see people be fans of things, and it's a
Oh yeah.
wonderful.
I like
It's a
watching people. Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing, right? Someone went. Let's think about that. Someone went through all the trouble to either pay for or even some make from scratch these amazing costumes.
Oh yeah. It's
Right?
just
It's cool, right?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My favorite, I still one of my favorites when I did a Calgary show, way my first Calgary show. I still remember this. It was Kiss Demon and Baby Yoshi, his daughter. It was awesome. It was amazing, and I loved it. Right? But that's the best. Now again, there's the dark side to it is we all can get trapped in our own ideas too. Right? That's the dark side to it.
Yeah.
Right? We can get
Exactly.
trapped in it. That's sometimes it could be anything from fanboy obsession to how marketing campaigns work. That's that that spectrum is the same. So people we
Yeah.
can get
There's.
that's the downside. But that passion's amazing. And I would just going to like you're like worrying about you know what? Just better to be too passionate than not
Hmm.
passionate enough. Get people to tell
Hmm.
you to shut up. I don't know if anyone would actually tell you to shut up because you look like the kind of woman that would be like beat people down. But
No. No.
you get
People
people
say
to
I'm too nice.
yeah. Right, that's okay, right? So what I'm saying is, right, get like if you're worried about that, like honestly, be passionate. Like go. I would rather see someone go all in on their passion than someone that doesn't say a word or do anything. You know what I mean? I mean one is more honest than the other,
Well,
right?
I think I've gotten a little bit of a balance on Facebook. Now, I haven't promoted the books lately, but I have promoted the anthology.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, I can't really talk about work on Facebook because one of my workplaces is an accounting firm. And you just cannot talk about clients. It's like medical things and HIPAA laws.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I have a
So
so I have a
I've gotten that balance.
no, 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 so I have a buddy. He's a cop. So
Oh, yeah.
he deals with some incredibly stupid people. So what he does is he takes away all the names, takes away all the names, takes away he
Yeah.
takes away all the names, he takes away all the real like you get the idea of the circumstances, but you don't get the full specifics. And then he just tells
I get it.
stories. Yeah, right. And he just tells. Then you just tell, like specific. Look, you're an accountant. Accountants play with numbers. Like for you, if it was
Hmm.
me, I'd be taking numbers and I'd be fusing it with some form of Play-Doh because essentially your job is I'm taking this big giant bit of Play-Doh and I'm cookie cuttering it to as many small pieces
Yeah.
as I possibly can. Right. So right, and I need.
Well, let me tell you something. I sort of fell into accounting.
Okay.
because I had 3 accounting classes.
Okay.
When I went to work, I went to work for a lumberyard, and the owner knew me, and they needed somebody who wouldn't talk about the lumberyard. So so I basically got trained there. I didn't accounting was not my was my last choice to go in the field to go into. And my dad knew that. My dad wanted me to go into accounting, but he recommended me for this job, so I've stayed with it. I've been in this one job for 36 years.
So you got it down.
I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
got.
then I went to work for a CPA and learned even more, so in the afternoons.
Yeah. So you've been playing with numbers, but like I said, there's an honesty in playing with numbers, right? So it's just figuring out ways to make it fun. Like you can't talk about the specifics of your company's like finances because
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that you get in trouble, but you could talk about, but at the same time, you like you could do that. Like you can come up with a story. It's like, okay, why am I seeing this number for bikini wax? Why is that even like you can put something like that absurd in there? And you don't even, again, you're not saying naming names
Yeah,
or doing anything like this. It's like, do I even want to ask my boss about this? Like, hey,
yeah. Oh,
why is there a, and I'm not saying there is, but you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like you do see strange stuff sometimes with the numbers, and you're like, why did it work out like this? And then you go back and recalculate. It's like, did I screw up? Comes back to that number. It's like, no, I didn't screw
I
up.
didn't, yeah,
I didn't. I wasn't the one that screwed it up, and it's just like, okay, shrug,
yeah.
right. It's just like shrug,
Well, I
and
like to say, yeah.
yeah,
I can
right,
talk a little bit more about the lumberyard than I can about the accounting firm. So,
right. Well,
you know,
absolutely, no, absolutely, right, because the
yeah.
you want to know the lumberyard probably doesn't care. Look, I have some
Oh,
ideas.
not a,
Not as much. I've done a little work in the lumber yards. It's messier than people realize in some ways.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
A lot messier. It's honest work. I mean, it's not terrible work. It's
Yeah.
honest, and you know that is all. I mean, and there's something rewarding about that. But at the same time, it's just like I remember for a couple times I worked. I'd come home and be like my clothes. I had wood in places I did not know
Oh,
wood could
yeah,
go to.
yeah,
It's like, how did you get
yeah.
there?
How do you get that? Fortunately, I don't go out in the yard that much, so
Well, in your case, it'd be even worse. Like, I was just out there. What the hell?
yeah.
Right? Right? I was in it all day, so I got
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
got
yeah,
how it could, but
yeah.
it'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah. They have to cut up stuff or yeah, or load
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
exactly. So it's just like I'm just saying it like I'm just saying it like that just because I like people just like knowing and seeing it, right? We have a tendency like when we look at like I don't knock those kind of jobs at all because I think
Oh, no. Yeah.
they're very good work, they're very good jobs. I think the thing is, again, I'm at a point in my life where I want to try something different. But I mean, if things don't work out, like don't magically work out, um, you know, I can always try to put myself back into one of these kind of positions. But
Mhm.
also, I'm at the point in my life now where if I'm physically working for somebody, I wanna, I would rather not. I'd rather use my head. And that's just where I'm at in my life.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
So
yeah. Well, I have a friend who is an artist who, actually, she said she did it backwards. She started out freelancing, and now she's got a regular job,
it's the way it
you know?
goes. You know, it's the way it goes. Like freelancing, like is okay. So this year so far, I've had a lot. Like right at the end of last year, I lost 10K because a contract fell
Oh,
through. Oh yeah,
oh,
but it's part of the game. Like I'm not even
yeah,
saying this in
yeah.
like an angry way. Just it's part of the game, right? But it was a huge difference from that, and then from there, I ended up getting a you know the novel like we talked about off the air a little bit.
Mhm.
I like I got it's being looked at by an agent right now.
Oh, cool.
So I mean,
Good.
it's ups, there's downs, and there's lots of things in the middle. It's
Yeah.
tough. Like
And
freelancing is very tough.
you're at a good age to start that too, because I got to the point where I thought, okay, I'm not even going to try to get an agent. That's 3 or 4 years out, and I'm just going to forget it. I'm just going to self-publish.
Well, I mean, it can go, but it goes both ways. Like I don't like it fell in my lap. Like I think like as an
Oh
author,
yeah. Okay.
as an author, I think as an author, you need both. Like I look at it this way. It came my way. I have nothing to lose. We get along very well as
Oh yeah.
people,
Cool.
right? The agent and I, we met and we've chatted, and and like we get along as people, which is good. Like there's a relationship that can be worked at there, which is very
Good.
important,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, if I was in the right place at the right time. If I wasn't in the right place at the right time, I'd probably be kickstartering this,
Yeah.
right? I'm just
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yeah. I was never quite at the right place at the right time. So.
and that's the way it works out. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Like timing's everything. I mean, there's a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
timing with that, but also
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, look, it's still very possible, Lorraine, that your books kick all kinds of ass and you develop a fan following, and so all of a sudden it's like, hey, when is the next book?
Oh,
Like
well, I have
it
at
can
least one
happen.
fan
Well, yeah, I mean,
in town.
but you might get more as time goes on, right? Depending on how this plays out, and if you get
Mm-hmm.
enough of a following, they might come to you. It happens, right?
It'd be nice. Yeah, it would be nice. I've had people read my book, the 2x4 book, and they said, "Oh, that's good, actually." And it's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Help me
that's the
promote
thing.
it. You
It's
know?
just it's about. I mentioned this at the beginning. It's about what you want, right?
Hmm.
It's not about the publishing field. Like as an author, like okay, again, strictly on a business level, I need books that are indie. I need books that are traditional too. I am in that age where I can
Hmm.
do both, so I
Yeah.
should
Oh, yeah.
do both. But I'd be a fool if I put all my eggs in one basket or the other basket, right? If I can do it in a variety of different ways, why shouldn't I?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've written fantasy, and I wanted to write that street murder, and I did.
Damn right.
Yeah. So.
I mean, that's the other thing too. Like you can write whatever you like. That's the thing too. As an indie, you have the ability to try different things, right? You just do,
Well, the one
and
that, yeah, the
right.
one that my beta readers, I think somebody's reading it. Well, one got back to me and said it was all right, but it's a fantasy murder mystery. But it's based in uh, current time. It was basically a paranormal murder mystery type thing. Maybe not all murder, but
Okay, yeah.
mystery. Yeah.
So it's all good. It's all good. I've had like you get the option to you have the option to like be whoever you want to be as an independent. And that's honestly the big beauty of being an indie.
Hmm.
The challenge of being an indie is you realize that you also have to be your biggest cheerleader.
That's, yeah, exactly.
Mhm. So, and it sounds to me like I get the feeling if I read a book of yours, I think I'd really like it. Um, the challenge is probably for you for the last little bit is like, okay, I have to scream from the mountaintops that I am awesome. How do I do this without sounding like a fraud?
Yeah. I think every author has, okay, I'm a fraud, even
Well,
the
just
most successful ones.
oh yeah, because there's we have so little control what happens once it's out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'll tell I'll tell you a fun story. All right, I got traditionally published in 2014 by accident. Do you want to hear how?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So I put a book out there. I did epic poetry. I wrote a epic poetry book called The Watcher. You can go on Amazon when this or
Hmm.
my publisher's website and find it. But what ended up happening was I accidentally started writing this longer poem about a sleigh boy in this tower of dragons, and I wrote the first chapter. What was the first chapter? And I really liked it. I enjoyed it.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, what happens next? And I wrote chapter 2 where he killed his dragon master. It's like, okay, I can't end it here. And I kept going. Right. For chapter 3 is his first night alone in the world, and kind of also dealing with the fact that he killed something or someone. Right. And that's a big thing. And then chapter 4, he's out into this new world, this new wacky, wonderful little world. And suddenly I have this story that just kind of takes off on its own. I go to a comic shop here. I'm a big comic book junkie myself.
Hmm.
Right, and
Oh
I
yeah.
find I find this artist I used to work at a local Kinko's here. She's doing stuff for comics, and I get her to illustrate a few things for me. So I published the book on Smashwords, and then suddenly someone goes to me. It's like, hey, I really like this. What are you going to do with it? And basically, that whole Smashwords plan, and print on demand to
Oh yeah.
sell. That was
Oh
my
yeah.
master plan. That was my entire master plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goes backwards, yeah.
And I told her what that master plan was. So she goes, "Well, I just did an order at Ingram Spark. Uh, I'll publish your book."
And you're going,
Yeah, pretty much.
okay.
Yeah. It's like, yes. The moral of the story, though, is this: I didn't do anything different than what you're doing. That doesn't make me like. It doesn't make like. The thing is, when you realize, like, I think what happens with imposter syndrome is you realize
Mhm.
how little control you have,
Oh yeah.
and you realize it as you do it, right? And what happens is you're like, okay, how did I end up here? And then on top of that, you're like, oh shit, okay, I could lose this in a heartbeat. And that's when all the panic comes in, right? So I decided, so like you have to learn how to kind of cope with the fact that, okay, it really doesn't matter how you got here. The important thing is you're here. What are you
Oh
going to
yeah.
do to stay there?
All
Right?
right.
That's
Yeah.
that, that's a
True.
very different. So you eliminate the feeling of fraud. It's like, look, I've come to terms with it. If I get to where I want to go, I had a little bit of luck and timing on my side. Okay, I can live with that.
That happens.
It happens. And you know
Yeah.
what? If someone goes to me, you're lucky. You know what my response will be? Sure was. But I was smart enough to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. It doesn't come down like good. Being good is nice. Putting yourself out there is far more important than people realize, just for that reason.
Hmm.
Because if you're putting yourself out there, you're giving people an opportunity to see you.
True.
Right? And that's the real challenge. Because Lorraine J, there's only one Lorraine J. Anderson. There's only one of you. There's only one person that tells a story the way you tell a story.
Hmm. Exactly.
And that's special. Like, honestly, like, that's special. And so instead of looking at it from the point of view of, okay, I'm lucky. No, I made this. I worked so hard to get to this. And I should be proud of that. Because you should be.
Yeah. I should tell you a couple stories. So
Sure.
one story. Now I don't remember exactly when I put it on Amazon. I wrote some stories, put them on Amazon. They didn't do much. This one story, I finally made it go free. So zero download. Zero to download. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember how I did that, but I don't know how many stories, thousands the first day, thousands of downloads the first day it went free, and I still cannot figure that out. I mean, it's still selling, selling. I don't get any money out of it, but it's still selling.
It's
So
still making
it's
returns.
just, huh?
You're
There
still
was something in it,
yeah.
some flight, and of course I got, yeah, reviews all over the chart. But when one person says, "Well, this is a horrible romance," and I'm going, "I didn't write a romance. What are you talking about?"
Here's how I look at bad review. So I draw too, right? I draw,
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
and I don't pretend I'm good at drawing, and I'm not trying to like belittle myself when I say that. It's not why I draw. Generally speaking, I'm
Hmm.
drawing because it's fun, not because it's I want to get. I do want to get better at it. I'd be lying
Well,
if I said that otherwise.
yeah, it's
But
like my sing.
it's not my it's not my go-to. If that makes sense, right? It's just this is the one where I have the most fun, and I don't really rush my growth, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like my singing. I enjoy it. I don't particularly like listening to myself, but I enjoy it, and people seem to like to listen to me.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. And and I understand that too. I've done over 1,000 of these. I still
hmm,
always sounds a little weird when I hear my voice for the first couple minutes.
hmm,
It goes
hmm.
away faster than it used to, but I still have those like moments of, oh my god, that's me. Yeah, right. I had that moment, right? So the thing is, right? I going back to what I was saying, right? I you know I put up a drawing and I had a response from somebody. It's like, how long have you been drawing? I said, well, for 3 years. And they go to me, and I literally got this response of like, get the how to draw book and blah blah blah, like really brutal.
Hmm.
Like they're trying to be brutal for like whatever reason.
Figures.
And hilariously within the hour of getting that, I got my first ever commission. Again, that yeah, but that's how it works, right? So what I realize is good reviews, bad reviews. Like what I realize is you're good. I'm actually a little worried if I don't get bad reviews
Oh,
because I look, I'm me. I'm going to piss somebody off. That's just the nature of the world. I'm going to piss people off sometimes. Like I said, when we start before we went on the air, I have my own opinions. Some of them, people are going to completely agree with me. Some of them, people are going to be like, "You're on drugs," and I don't want them. That's fine. I get that too. But that's because I'm a human being. There's going to be parts that about me that are going to resonate really strongly in the positive, and there's going to be parts about me that are going to resonate really strongly in the negative. But I want that. I don't want, like. I think the worst thing I would have is like nothing.
well, yeah. I had a thought and it just went away. So sorry.
No,
How
it's
that
all
goes.
good. It's all good. If it comes back, just say, Josh, shut up. I have my thought, and then
Yeah.
you can say your thing. I just like you had something with that book that resonated positively and negatively with people, and that's a good thing. I
Yeah.
again, I look at it like this. If I get a 1-star review, thank you. You've added to the algorithm. If I get a five
Hmm.
star review, thank you. You've added to the algorithm.
Yeah.
I don't want. I don't necessarily want. I mean, let's be honest. My ego wants all good reviews, right? But that's not real. What's real is I'm
Hmm.
going to make some people happy.
Um,
I'm going to make some people mad. But hopefully, in the process, I've impacted people, and that's what I care about.
yeah. And that's what I'm kind of hoping with my new book too. You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into your new book in just a second. I actually
Yeah.
wanted to ask you this: what was your favorite
Sure.
stuff to read as a kid?
Oh, well, before I was 12 or after.
Both. I
'Cause,
don't care. You
um,
just it's an open ended question.
I
What?
read uh before I read the Little House books. Um, I read a lot of books that I can't get through anymore. I read Gulliver's Travels. I can't get through that anymore.
Okay.
um, what else did I read? Well, kids' books, Bobbsey Twins, and all that stuff. After went to the library, she introduced me to Heinlein,
Rob
Robert
Heinlein.
Robert E. Heinlein, and then I never went back for a while.
So I'm really torn with Heinlein. Like
Yeah.
I'm torn So the magic book for me is Stranger in a Strange Land.
Yeah.
I know you have a
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about, right?
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
anything pre that I think is fantastic. Now again, is it
Anything.
formulaic? Sure, but he wrote so many amazing stories right
Hmm.
before then. After um after that, um
Well, there's one I really like to reread, but you get to the end and it's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? It's called "To Sail Beyond the Sunset." It's
yes,
about Lazarus Long's mother,
it's
and
her it's her autobiography. It's
yeah,
one his last book. Yeah, it's a bit
until you get to the end and he's got all his characters coming together in one spot, and I'm going, oh, jeez.
well, yeah, because he was the I for me it was the fact that I read that when I was like a teenager too. I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know what a Texas Star was until I read Heinlein. Like that like I didn't know what
Hmm.
that was.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Because that came from or Star of David, and if anyone doesn't know what that is, it just look it up. Let's look it up from a sexual point of view. You'll be like,
Oh
oh
dear.
yeah,
I
because
think I'll look it up
because
later.
yeah yeah it's that's the thing like Heinlein's like everything post Stranger in a Strange Land is the sex during the sexual revolution, and
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, all of it, right? So you he is such an interesting study pre-post that, right? My favorite book of his all time is probably Moon is a Harsh Mistress. It's neat. I think it's a really cool book. Um, but again, he is such a fascinating. Like the pre and post are
Yeah.
so different. Um,
Well, I like his juveniles too.
oh,
So
everybody loves juveniles,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right.
His
So,
juveniles are fantastic, right? They are what I'm going for as without okay. I don't want to necessarily write like Heinlein, but I love the fact that they told such concisely good stories
hmm.
so quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So and they're all really really good. My favorite short story from him is called "The Roads Must Roll." I think that
Oh
was a
yeah.
really
Hmm.
that's a really good one. Um, but I but my favorite novels, my novels are Moon and Harvest Mistress is my favorite. Taking over the planet, taking over Mars is
Hmm.
just taking over the moon, I should say, and the odds of it, like he goes, Moon Man will only do this if the odds if they're 10 to 1, if they're 10 to 1, if they're over 10 to 1, I won't do it. But if they're under 10 to 1, I'll give it a shot. And the AI goes to him, I got bad news for you. The odds are 8 to 1 right now when you start. I'm just like, well, shit, I guess I'm trying to take over the moon. And it is a wild, it's a wild book. I just think it's a really wild book.
Yeah, but yeah, I was thinking some of the other things I like to write. I think I had to be older to really appreciate Mark Twain.
Yes,
And I Mark Twain and Heinlein, I think, are about the same in my head with their writing styles.
that's interesting.
I had a story that I was, and I don't know whether this is coming up. I think there's an anthology coming up, and I heaven help me, I don't know the name, but I wrote it early. So, but I combined Tom Sawyer and Sherlock Holmes
Yes.
as young men or young, and they might not be in the same time area, but then I was trying to write as Mark Twain, so in his style. So I don't know if I would succeeded or not. It hasn't gotten off my hard drive yet.
It's hard when you try to copy other authors'
It
styles
is.
because
It is.
there's something personal about them,
Hmm.
right? There's something
I'm just
personal.
trying to get close.
Yeah. No, there's a wonderful line between homage
Yeah.
and going. It sounds like you're trying to homage Mr.
Oh yeah.
Twain.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Twain story?
Exactly. Huh?
Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. Your favorite Twain story?
Uh, Connecticut Yankee, I think
Okay,
more
fair
so.
enough.
But I did read the Tom Sawyer and the Huck Finns lately, and there's one Huck Finn, it's like, what were you thinking? uh, I think he kept the Huck Finn going too long because all of a sudden they're going around the world and then all of a sudden they're home. I'm going, wait a minute, what the heck is going on?
Well, it sometimes like again, even back then with the publishing industry, when you have a hit, you
Uh,
don't like what
took
do
it
you
too
do?
far.
Well, it's also like a weird problem. Like for example, let's say you have a story, right? And everybody
Hmm.
likes it, and everybody likes a new book of that story. Well, you're doing fan service at that point, right? Like you're serving and
Yeah.
I don't think
And
there's anything wrong with that. But there also comes a point where it's just like, okay, I don't know if I can keep making them good anymore, right? Because there just
yeah,
comes a point where you've said everything you're going to say,
hey, yeah,
right? But they're throwing piles of money at you to keep writing them. And then you're like, I guess I'm going to keep writing them. Well, fuck, what do I say now? Like, I think
yeah.
that's what happens with that. That's what happens sometimes. Like, okay, fantasy wise, okay, I just finished one of I've started reading. Hold on, I'm gonna get the name right because if I screw this up, Kim Harrison. Okay, she has
Okay.
the Rachel Morgan series, right? Well, I looked at the Rachel Morgan series. There's like 17 books there of the Rachel Morgan series, right? Okay, so and the books are really good. I'm not even gonna like I've read the first three and they're all really 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 good. But I also realized like there's probably going to come a point where when I'm reading these
Yeah.
where it's going to be like, well, she said everything she wants to say about them, but they're making her keep going. And I'm not knocking her for it because I understand too. It's just like, hey, if someone really likes your stuff, you got to keep going, right?
For some reason, the Xanth books come to mind. I don't know how many. I finally stopped reading those. Here's
Here's Anthony.
Anthony.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like, oh my gosh, how many Xanth books are there nowadays?
Oh, geez, there's tons, but like once you read like the first five or so, you've read them all, right? Honestly, in terms of
Basically,
what, right? But
yeah,
but here's the thing: the publisher goes, "Here's money, keep writing them."
yeah, brave. Sure,
Right,
why not?
yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? You're just like, yes, okay. And then sometimes you'll see the author go to the publisher. I'll write more of these, but for the love of God, can I please write something else? Like, just I need to, right? And that's what happens, right? Is that? But again, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I mean, a lot of authors would kill for that problem. Hey, I've said
Yeah.
everything I can about this character, and I don't know where to go from here. It
Well,
happens.
yeah, I can think of one. I think she just stopped writing the series entirely. So, and
Oh,
she's gone to other series.
oh, which one? Who?
Lois McMaster Bujold,
Okay, yeah,
the Miles Verkazigan. I think she stopped writing those entirely
yeah. I mean,
because that's about all she can do. There's not much more she can say. I think.
yeah,
Well, it probably is, but
well, there comes a point you need a break too, right? Like you're human.
yeah.
But I mean, going back to like Huckleberry Finn and all these like famous characters that like,
Hmm.
I mean, it's a weird balance. Hey, listen, I like my life comfort zone, and they're giving me piles of money to write it, but
Hmm.
I'm running out of shit to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? And sometimes sometimes you stretch it. Like sometimes you stretch it, right?
Hmm.
Because again, you're getting paid to do it. And sometimes you just realize I can't do it anymore right now. Right? Right? But it gets really, 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 really hard, right? And again, I don't knock anybody for that. Like you have to like look at the Dresden Files from Jim Butcher. I'm sure
Oh
there are
yeah.
points in that like he's written tons of those. Now, I don't think he's ungrateful for it, but I'm sure. But I think there's probably points in the series where if he was honest, he'd be like, I didn't know where I was going from here. I didn't know. Like, right? I just didn't because they gave me money to do this, but I was like, I don't know where else to go, right? And you won't
Hmm.
let me, and you won't let me kill them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, I mean, that's a problem. But so, I mean, it's a weird thing. But here's the other thing too. Like some artists will use that like notoriety with that one thing to help, do other things they love to do. Right. That's not a terrible thing.
Mhm. No, I'm doing what I want to do right now. If anybody wants to read it, that's great. If they don't want to read it, I've had fun writing it.
Absolutely. So you're gonna become an in. So your goal is to how many books have you written so far?
See, one, two, three, four, and I got partway through another one and just basically haven't started again. Then five that's coming up that I'm trying to
Congrats!
publish later.
Congrats! Congrats on 5.
Not everybody's done that. I mean, they're not long books, but they're books. They're not like 500 pages.
I
But
I,
hey,
I figured out something about you, Miss Lorraine. See if I all right.
yeah,
You're you're a fairly humble person.
I try to be.
Yeah, no, but just
Yeah.
no. I mean, I'm gonna give you your flowers right now. And that is, you've done. Sounds like you're very happy with what you've accomplished.
Hmm.
You have a right to be proud of it, and you should
Yeah,
be.
I'm satisfied with my life. I've done things that I never thought I'd do in my
Okay,
life.
I want to hear
You
one.
know,
Then before we wrap up, give me one. Give me one that you never thought you'd actually do.
uh, well, this was actually through a friend of mine. I met with the an actor in this house. Name was Jonathan Frid. He was Barnabas Collins in Dark Shadows.
Okay.
He was he was an interesting gentleman. He was so nice to talk to. But he played a vampire in the series.
There.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. It sounds like you've let your imagination take you to places, and
Hmm.
like in real life, like we mentioned earlier in the chat, sometimes maybe you didn't hit the timing the way you wanted to, maybe with a traditional
Yeah,
publisher, but it sounds like you've hit timing in other things that were really really cool.
but let me show you this cover. And this is the reason I got to meet Mr. Fred,
Okay.
because there was this artist. If I can,
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Put it up.
yeah,
Put it. All right. That's
yeah,
awesome.
she did. And she did wonderful work. She did some karmic artwork for him, so that's how I managed to meet him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool cover, by the way.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't make the cover, but
Well, no,
it was my
yeah,
idea.
yeah. Well, no, I mean, hey, listen, I get it. Like, I totally do. So, Miss Lorraine, I think, I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I
So
think,
can I
sorry.
tell you a story about the book coming up? Just
I
real
well,
quick.
I was about to get, I was about to get there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, go for it. Tell the story.
No, the story is the original story was actually in a book conceived at shore leave by a bunch of gentlemen. It was edited by Peter and Kathleen David, and it was called "They Keep Killing Glenn." Um, Glenn is a friend of theirs, and I know the gentleman name is Glenn Howman. But so all these authors wrote different ways to kill Glenn. So I wrote this story and submitted it, and they liked it. And actually, Peter said he'd like to wouldn't mind seeing more of these stories, although I'm not sending them to him. But thought, oh, that's pretty cool. He's a guy I respect. He's done a bunch of work. He knows a lot of people, and it's cool that he likes my characters. So this book is based on on those characters, but not Glenn.
But not Glenn, because you killed Glenn.
Yeah, not Glenn. I did ask Glenn's permission to use this name in the book.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. So what's the book called?
Counting on Murder.
Counting on Murder.
The main character is an accountant. So, yeah. And he's very grumpy about it because all these ghosts keep bothering him. His assistant could actually see ghosts, but all these ghosts keep bothering him, and he has to go away from his work to help solve these things, or else he won't get any peace.
Oh, this is fun. Okay, so this kind of reminds me a little bit of something like a Murder She Wrote, kind of.
Yeah,
not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite.
And I'm doing various stories. Yeah, so
that's fun. That's a lot of fun.
So I modified the Glenn story, and I modified a bunch of stories I had already put on my website so they'd all fit together. And that's what I was hoping the beta reader would do.
So, sorry. So my question, Miss Lorraine, then is this: is the book coming out, or is the book out?
Eventually coming out.
Do you know when?
I have a cover. I have people that are looking at it, and basically then I have to have time to sit down and format it and put it on Amazon.
Okay, so it's gonna be out soon then.
Yeah, within the next 3 to 5 months, I think.
Okay, so
because I'm like I say, I work for an accountant, so it's tax time down here.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. Okay, so then I'm going to ask this then. When was your last book that came out?
The last one was the 2x4 by Murder. I was gonna look at the date. That's the title. That's actually my foot, by the way.
Okay.
2021.
Awesome. All right, 2x4 by Murder. Okay. With a real foot on the cover.
Yeah, that is apart from all this. That is actually my office floor. What happened is I work in a lumberyard, which is by a river, and the river occasionally floods. So when they pulled up the carpet, there was this wonderful floor with this wonderful patina on it. And I said, I got to take pictures of this before they cover it up again.
Nice.
So I was going through my pictures. I'm trying to be cheap with covers, and I thought, oh, that would work. I'll just put some blood spatter on it.
No, that's fair. That is fair. And you add some blood spatter. So if I do, by the way, I really did enjoy this chat, but the next time you come on the show, I get the feeling that we're going to have a talk about murder a lot, because I noticed, like, I'm looking at your website right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just, you got definitely a fascination with it. We'll have to at the very least, or at least that's what you write about at the very least, and we'll talk about that at some.
Jesse Wolford.
Yeah, for next time. But I also just put, so for anyone that wants to find you, how could they do so?
Most of my stuff is on www.lorrainejanderson.com. It's right on the bottom of my picture. I think I have links to my Facebook, Twitter, which I'm very rarely on. I'm on Blue Sky too, but I keep forgetting to look at that too.
No, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair.
Mostly on Facebook. I got some stuff on YouTube, and I got some stuff on fanfiction.net.
Okay, very cool. I got your website up on the site here, so people can watch it and listen to it. Miss Lorraine, I enjoyed this chat, and I'm glad you came on and put up with me for the hour or so you did. No so thank you very much. And for everybody watching, everybody listening, this is Lorraine J. Anderson. Go check out her books. The website is on Twitch here. If you're listening to this, it'll be in the episode description below. I want to thank Lorraine for coming on. And next week, we got some really fun guests next week, some comic book people, some more authors from the anthology individually. Susan Swartz is coming back and in full regalia. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it'll be up. So I'm sure I'll have a hoot with her. So for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next week.